M is for Mason.
G is for Graham.
B for Betcha.
This is the MGB Wrestling Podcast, the podcast with PG-rated material accessible to wrestling fans of all ages.
All right, let's move on to day 2. Now, this had 2 sessions. It had the afternoon session and the evening session. So, session 1 was basically the qualifying for the women's Commonwealth Cup, or qualifying for the final, I should say. Now, they also had a few matches before. So, the first match that I have is Harlow O'Hara and Faye Calloway and Gothic and Emma Lou. Well, sorry, that team name was called Gothic with 2 C's. And they were versus the new wrestler Emma Lou and Jordan Blake. All right, what do you have for this one, Mason?
So I have Emma gets pinned when Jordan gets attacked by Angela Lane.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they go out and Jordan Blade and Emma Lou are on the outside.
Uh-huh.
And then Jordan Blade, she just punches Emma Lou in the face.
Yeah, and I didn't see that. I'm sorry, Emma Lou was new on Twitter within the last couple of weeks, and I followed her because I like to follow all the Nova Pro people, because I like to see what's coming up, what stories. And and they did a promo actually, a couple of minute promo only a few days before about how they were going to conquer the Nova Pro basically. And as the person next to us said, well, that was the quickest tag team ever. They were only together like 8 minutes, and they already. Yeah, I was really confused by that whole storyline, and it wasn't like it was Emma Lou's fault. Yeah, I have no idea. I totally didn't get that one at all. I will say that I did like Harlow O'Hara again.
Yeah.
She has some great lines in there as well.
Yeah.
She didn't go to Bible school. Time to confess your sins. There's like a couple of those that she throws in at different times. I love that character. I love that character. I think it said that she was supposed to be with somebody else, and then they didn't turn up.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure who Harlow O'Hara was supposed to be with, but I thought she worked perfectly with Faye Calloway. I thought that was a great
partnership. That just reminds me, I had a tag team name for her and Emma Lou.
Oh, you did?
Hallelujah. I also had another one for Jordan Grace and Mia Yim. It could be Mama Mia, because Jordan Grace, her nickname is Big Mama Pompous. See,
those were great.
With all that stuff.
Those were great, and I told you to start thinking about that because I came up with one. Oh, I came up with one. This was before Nova Pro because I put it. We saw Jake Hollister in VCW last week, and we talked about this on our other podcast. I mentioned we have a picture with him, and he's holding his rose because he's pretty boy Jake Hollister. And then that got me thinking, ASPYN Rose, because I saw she was coming back. So I jokingly said that should be like a tag team and like a mixed. And Bo Crockett also came in on the conversation, and they obviously hate each other. That was kind of clear. And then I came up with another one as well. The phrase is a rose by any other name is known, and I can't remember the complete phrase anyway. So I thought the tag team could be a rose, Bo, any other name is known. Anyway, enough with pun names for Nova Pro. I'm sure we can think of some more for the next time. That was really sort of done like in the intermission we're trying to think of. All right, let's go back to that match then with Harlow O'Hara. What else do you?
Yeah, that's all I really had.
Oh, that was it? Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, this is where my notes really did start to disappear a little bit, so I'm not sure who the next match is. All right, so what the first round match was then was a big one straight away. Mia Yim and Faye Jackson. Okay. Now, I always take pictures for this. I don't know what happened with my pictures. My pictures all got twisted around, and I wasn't prepared to twist them all around individually and edit them because it takes forever. So I deleted all my pictures for this one as well. And this is the one where we decided, look, we're not really taking notes. We're just writing down key phrases. In fact, we talked about at one point just doing our top 3 moments, but there was just too many moments, so I started to write down. So I was like, let's just talk about each match anyway. All right, what do you have for Mia and Faye?
I have that Faye, Mia, she asked Faye to do her little dance, and then she does. And when she turns around, she's halfway done, and then Mia, she quickly rolls her up, and then she does a 1 count and lets her go, and then
Wrestlers 101.
And then she says, "I'm gonna teach you a lesson to never turn your back on your opponent."
Yep. Yeah, and they're very good friends.
Yes.
That was very clear, and in fact, that's the really real comment I wrote down. They hugged it out at the end. Mia got through. Mia was great.
Yeah.
Considering she hadn't wrestled in so long, certainly not at Nova Pro anyway. I was really impressed with that. Okay, anything else?
So, Mia, she was doing some sort of submission, I don't know what. She had her arms locked around Faye's legs, and then she was sitting on Faye, and then she bit her behind, and then...
That was a later match. I have that as a different match. Have that as a different match.
It was Faye Jackson versus Mia.
No, that was Vader Scott that said that comment.
No.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
All right.
Mia yelled it.
All right, we're going to disagree on that one then.
It was.
All right, perhaps my note. Like I said, my notes weren't as good as yours. So I had my notes on different pages, so I'm going to bow to you on this one. Okay, I actually thought that was a different match, but okay.
But when did Veda even face Faye?
I didn't think it was against Faye. I thought it was a different match entirely.
No.
Okay,
It was
all right.
Faye.
Like I said, my notes weren't so good for this one. All right, second match in the first round was, this could have easily been a final, Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go first because I don't really have much. So that was pretty much my thought. It could have easily been a final. And somebody else said that comment next to us as well. Definitely want to see more Rachel Ellering. We did go and talk to her at the intermission because we wanted a picture. And we've talked about it on our podcast a few times, like, is Paul Ellering her dad? And I don't think we ever looked it up definitively. And you asked me again. I said, I don't know. I think so. So you got a chance to ask her that, and she confirmed that it was.
Yeah.
And you said that it was really cool to meet Paul Ellering's daughter. Whereas I said it was really cool to meet Rachel Ellering.
Except I don't know who she really is.
Now, that's
I know
fair
who
enough.
Paul Ellering is.
And that's fair enough. And I have watched some more of not Nova Pro, sorry. I've watched some more Powerbomb TV than you have. So I have seen a few of her matches.
Yeah.
And she is really impressive. And I was really impressed with her technical ability. And she made Jordan Grace look uncomfortable a few times, which you don't get to see really very often. And they could definitely wrestle at each other's ability. So, no, I was really impressed with that. Go ahead. What do you have?
They at the start of the match, they had a kind of a test of strength.
Mhm.
And then, so first, Jordan, she was getting the upper hand. And then they went to a different corner, and Rachel had the upper hand.
Yep.
And that's like one of the first time it's been a women versus a woman. And Jordan Grace, she sometimes had the upper hand and sometimes didn't in the strength match.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
That's-
you hear her stats at the start, like she can. I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Is it
she,
squat
She
195?
can squat 195 and
Bench
bench 275.
275. I thought Brian said 225 the first time she came out, but he definitely said 275 the second time. So yeah, no, I would agree with that. Anything else?
I remember, yeah, that she actually is related to Paul Ellering, and she is a great wrestler.
She is.
Yeah.
She has been at Nova Pro before,
She
but
has?
it's before we were there. And I saw it, but I don't remember why I saw it. I watched it for some reason, and I can't remember why I watched it. It might just have been I was bored and I wanted to see a random match. I'm not sure. But she has been there before, but as far as I know, that was only a second. Alright, third match then in the first round was Veda Scott, who turned out to be a character called the Crazy Cat Lady, versus Alley Cat. So I guess that would make sense that she chose to do that. I have one thing for this, and I'm going to let you go straight into it. So I put a tweet out that said, white lies are okay, right? We told Jackson the toy that I caught from Crazy Cat Lady at its Vader time was actually a present from at Boogie Bear. And he loves Alley Cat. And there was a chance, actually, if your baseball team had made the final for the Little League competition, you actually wouldn't have been there yesterday for the second session. And I said, Jackson, you might get to go. And he was really excited to meet Alley Cat. And your team, unfortunately, didn't make it, so he didn't get to go. But yeah, Vader was throwing out all these little cat toys, which Ali was worried about because they were throwing cats around. I stretched up more than I reached for a home run ball that I remember catching in Detroit Stadium against Baltimore, like a home run ball. It was during batting practice. And I stretched right up, and I got it. And we gave it to him this morning, and he thought it was so cool. He loved it. He had a big smile on his face. He was feeding it breakfast, and
He named it. He named it Bat.
He named it Bat. I don't know where he got that from. That was kind of a weird one. But no, he loved that thing. And that was my thing from this match. Because like I said, I wasn't writing much down. I was just watching the matches. And that's the thing that stuck in my head more than anything else. So go on. You were the good one taking notes this time. It's normally the reverse. So what have you got?
Yes, yeah. During the match, Veda, she thought she had she brought out the bag and she dumped it in the ring, and it was a bag full of cat food. And it's a more PG, like, you know how the women are a lot more, like, they don't fight with thumbtacks as much as men do. That's like their thumbtacks. They used it kind of like as thumbtacks.
And see, I would have got. This is why I need to take notes. See, I thought that was actually the next round match, so I'd got that mixed up in my head.
Because of Veda Scott, she's the.
It makes sense because she was the crazy cat lady. Yes. And she actually went under the ring. She actually went under the ring to get that, so that must have been prepared. But yeah, no, you're right. It was. And that was kind of cool. And somebody said that they liked the fact that whenever there's something that people get thrown onto, anything besides thumbtacks, it's really cool. I would love to see the Ugly Ducklings do it with little rubber ducks. Yeah. I've seen it online, but I don't think I've ever seen it at Nova Pro. So that would be certainly one that I would like to see as well. All right, the fourth match in round one. And I only wrote half a name down for this. Angela Slane versus Barbie
That's all.
That's all I wrote down. I don't remember her name. If you put me on the spot and I got to guess, I think it's like Barbie Holden or something like that.
I don't even remember Brian.
But I know it was her, because everybody else, it was just like, oh, this is a who's who. Like, we know Mia, we know Faye, we know Jordan. Rachel Ellering was kind of Veda Scott, Ali, Angelus. And then I just got careless and wrote Barbie down, and then totally forgot to look what her last name was. It was her debut in Nova Pro. My comment is, I was really impressed with her debut in Nova Pro. I thought she had some really good moves. I thought the attire that she was wearing looked really good as well. Yeah. Sometimes the wrestling outfit can kind of look a bit old. She looked like it was brand new. It looked really impressive. Yeah. She had some good moves. She had some different things that I haven't seen from other people. Another one I'm really hoping is going to come back. And I'm assuming Barbie's the one that replaced Chelsea Green.
Oh.
So I'm not quite sure what would have happened. Now, the other thing I didn't write down that now comes back to mind is, originally Angelus had said, if I lose this, I'm leaving Nova Pro.
Yeah.
Because I think she was bugging like the owner a little bit. And she said, look, you want me out? Here's your chance. If I lose round 1, I'm gone. If I win round 1, then I'm going to come back. Now, Brian actually announced in the ring, and I forgot this, she leaves for an indefinite amount of time. So that's not ever anyway. Indefinite could just be like, I'm not coming back, I'm not sure when, and then in 4 months' time you go, all right, I'm coming back. So it wasn't an ever thing, but then they rarely are in wrestling anyway, right? Kevin Owens has to leave SmackDown, he just joins Raw. So there's always loopholes that they have there. So it would have been interesting if Chelsea Green had been here. Would Chelsea Green lost in round 1?
Probably. She has some Impact tapings to do.
She could do.
Homicide did.
And the reason she wasn't there actually was she was recording a film, it said.
Oh.
So I don't know how much this played into it, but no, I was impressed with Barbie, and I thought it was a good match. Anything you have for this?
I remember that Barbie, she had Angelus through the ropes, and she yanked back her hands, and so she was in so much pain. She was yelling at the top of her lungs. And that happened in a few moments. She had like 3 times she was yelling.
All right, then I think they took a little break, and I guess because they had to have the next round of matches. So I have this one. It was ASPYN Rose and Jake Hollister, and Jake Hollister was accompanied by Bo Crockett. I've got to keep pronouncing it correctly. I keep saying Bro Keller. Wow, okay, I got to stop doing that. Now, and this is kind of funny, because like I said, I actually thought of that being different tag teams, and then suddenly they actually came out together. I was shocked by this one, how quick it ended.
Yeah.
That was the thing for me. A stunner, just like we saw at the Old Dominion Rumble, where ASPYN delivered multiple stunners in a row. She did the same to Jake Hollister, and that was it. I don't even know how long the match was. 2.5 minutes?
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of the MCW, where the ref, she gave Nick Gage and whoever he was accompanied by, a stunner, except it was way less PG.
I'm sure it would have been. I'm sure it would be. Now, there was a few tweets that went with this, actually. I think this was from the owner. I didn't write this down in Nova Pro. And it says, we live in a world where ASPYN Rose has a better record in Nova Pro than Nick Gage. Now, Nick Gage at this point had just lost 1 match, so he was 0-1. And ASPYN Rose actually retweeted it, and she's 3-0 now.
Oh.
So that is kind of impressive. And that made me think as well, I know somebody else who has a better record than Nick Gage as well. Benjamin Banks.
Yeah.
Benjamin Banks has a 2-0 record at Nova Pro now. Now, both of these were... I've been making fun of you for some of your picks recently. Now, we know from our regular podcast, you're very good at predicting pay-per-view events. When it comes to tournaments, is normally where you go bad. Now, you actually picked Jordan Grace for this one, and I picked Jordan Grace, so perhaps that cancelled each other out for this one. And you actually made some great picks for who was going to come back on the sink or swim. Yeah, I think it said suggest 4 or 5 people. One of yours was a joke, so I know you only suggested 4 real people. Benjamin Banks was one, 2-0. ASPYN Rose was another one, 3-0. Jinx as well was one you suggested, and she did come back as well. And he's also been back as well. And he's also been back. So you've actually done really well from that one. So I'm thinking they should start using you as a talent scout as well, Mason. I think next year they should just look straight to you. Who do you think? Because I think you've got a pretty good eye for this sort of stuff.
I also picked Harry Zen.
You did, and he came back as well.
He was in the tag team with
he was.
Bobby. So.
He was, yeah. He came back on that one as well. Now, ASPYN Rose went to 3-0. And Sahara 7 says, can I be the one to destroy the 3-0? So that's a possible future match as well. I think we've seen Sahara 7 at MCW. Yeah, I thought I recognised that
on my birthday.
It was. Now, also, there was this tweet as well. At VA Wrestling, I thought PCO and Gage was violent until I saw at ASPYN the Mermaid take out at Jake Hollister 7 with that stunner. And that was from somebody called, let me just look here, at Mr. Bagshaw. That was that one there.
Doesn't he do the MGB Wrestling podcast?
I believe so. I think you're right. Okay, then I think we had the next intermission, and then we're on to the second round of matches. Now, this is where I took slightly better notes, but there's only 2 matches to worry about for this one. So the first one was Mia Yim and Jordan Grace.
Yes.
Okay, all right, go ahead, talk to us.
So when Mia's entering, she hugged her mom.
She did, and
then
this was with the crowd as well. The crowd was chanting, Mia's mom. Mia's mom. And
Yeah,
she was all smiley, and I think Mia really appreciated it as well. And I actually found a tweet that mentioned that later. It was like 150 likes or something.
Oh.
It was obviously, Mia Yim has a lot of fans. And I think that's cool that her mom was there.
Yeah.
And I've seen her before. Normally she's on the opposite side of the room to where we are. This is the first time I've sort of been close and been able to really see who Mia's mom is. But that was cool.
When I was walking to the bathroom again...
In the new regular segment of the podcast.
Mia, she was talking to this fan that was at her table, and she said, so how did you like your match? And then she paused for a little bit, and then she said, oh, you don't need to answer that. I saw the smile on your face.
Uh-huh. Yeah, definitely.
And,
All right.
Yeah, so during the match, she's fighting, and then I looked at Mia's mom, and she's like, oh my gosh. Because Jordan Grace, she's beating her.
Well, also with Mia Yim having a long-term injury,
Yes.
she's just come back from, you would be worried that after a long-term injury, it's easy to re-injure as well. So I'm sure that's got to be a little worrying as well.
Yeah, and in the end, Jordan Grace was the one that came out injured, kind of. Yeah, Jordan Grace won the match,
It looked
and
like,
she rolled out the ring. Yeah,
was it
it was
the
a
knee
left
injury?
Left knee.
Yeah, and she kept adjusting those. Actually, she took her knee pads off at one point, threw them, and then Mia actually hit the knee again. So
Yes.
that was a questionable
And then
decision on
she
that
had
one.
to roll out the ring, and the refs had to help her to the back.
Yeah, it did. It looked like it was, and you can't always tell because sometimes these are played up a little bit. But no, she did look. Another great match as well.
Yeah.
We just said Rachel Ella and Jordan would have been a good final. Mia and Jordan would have been a great final. There was a lot of these matches that you just couldn't really complain with at all.
Angeles and Jordan?
There was a lot. Now, at the end of this one, there was a tweet I saw from Mia as well. She put, I think Fate is trying to make at Wheeler Yuta and I a tag team. Need to make this happen. So, that could be an interesting look. That would be a good tag team right now. They're both very good technical wrestlers. If it was a mixed tag team, you don't seem impressed with that one. Is that because you can't think of a pun name for this one?
Kind of.
All right. The second semi-final was Angelus Lane and Alley Cat. And my quote's obviously irrelevant then, so you're going to be doing all this one, because I put slamming her on cat biscuits. So obviously I picked the wrong one, so this is all you, Mason.
That was big.
Oh, now actually, I do have one comment for this one. When I was looking through my pictures, and you can't really see them when you're on the phone because they're so small, you can basically see what it is. I have the picture of Angelus standing on Alley Cat as she's upside down on the ropes, which is not very pleasant at all. And then I have when Alley Cat went to headbutt her. And I took the picture at the second as she's moving her head forward. All you can see is her hair hitting Angelus Lane. And it just looks like she hit her with her hair. That was all it looked like. So I think that was a comment I thought. Alley Cat had to suffer with this, and all Angelus Lane got in retaliation was a hit with the hair. Oh, that's certainly what it looked like
But
from my
that-
picture.
yeah,
That wasn't what
I
happened at
know.
all. But
You
it
can
looked
hear
like
it.
it from the
You can hear
picture. It was funny. So, yeah, that was the only thing I really remember from that match. So the cat biscuits was wrong, so go ahead.
So Angelus, she lost by disqualification when she had Allie in a disqualification for 5 seconds, and Allie was on the ropes.
Mhm.
And Harlow O'Hara and
Faye Calloway.
Tara
Tara
Calloway.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
She came out, and they had her outside the ring. They had the ring post. Each one pulled her arm back on the ring post. And Angelus Lane, she grabbed her, and she kept pushing her head in and out. And Alley Cat, she was doing stuff, and then Angelus Lane, she walked out, and then she started kicking all the trash cans around. She hit one trash can with a savage stash.
Well, this is because somebody came out,
Yeah.
though. It was Jordan Grace
that was
and
before.
Faye Jackson.
This was before, and then she walked back, and then and then she was about to slap Allie in the face, and Faye Jackson and Jordan Grace ran out, and they chased him away.
Okay. Well, I saw her do it as she was leaving the arena as well on that one, because they foiled her plan, as it were. But yeah, Allie looked in bad shape.
Yes.
And she
was
fought
fine.
she fought second as well.
Yeah.
So she had less recovery time, although, as you just said, Jordan looked slightly injured as well.
Yeah.
So we didn't really know. And the thing that surprised me about this one, this was probably the only thing I didn't like about this whole weekend. The second session was so short. It was
Yeah.
only like 2 hours. Now, all the sessions were the same price. That first session, which was 4 hours, oh my goodness. that was great value. This second session, the matches they weren't as such a high standard. And you only got half the matches. I thought they could have moved some of those non-title matches or non-Commonwealth Cup matches into this segment, padded it out a little bit, or at least have 3 hours. And as somebody said, what am I supposed to do for like the next 2.5 hours? And I had that same thought. We had 2 hours to kill, and we went and got some food, but we were still waiting. We went to Burger King, we got some food, got some cheap food. But I thought it was too long to wait. So,
And probably the one thing is that they didn't want any men on the card, maybe. Like, they wanted the women to have one. Okay. Except Jake Hollister. That was, sure. But there was a woman in that one.
But they can pull out a whole card because they did it with Ripper to Shreds.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. The music was Zigzag by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. http://creativecommons.org/licenses/by